So here's the reality behind how most real relationships actually start in 2025. And believe me, I've seen this a million times. I live here in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's one of the capitals of dating. You might not know that, but tons of young entrepreneurs and professionals, people kind of come here from a bunch of different cities. It's a huge melting pot of people between 25 to 40 that are all single and dating, and I've seen it all. Me personally, I have had more dating experience than my girlfriend that might be watching this would care to know about. And I can tell you for a fact that this is exactly how most relationships that last for a while end up starting and end up beginning because it's not what you think. See, the guys that actually want to get into like an exclusive relationship or find monogamy, they might make the mistake of assuming that if they put their best foot forward and make it clear what they're looking for and make sure that it's known that they are seeking a wife, and maybe they've been doing all the things to prepare to be a good husband, and they're trying to put that side of them out there and hope that the right girl is going to recognize it and see his value and pick up on that, and they're just going to come together and be happily ever after. That's a very, very, very rare instance and circumstance. So I've seen it, where guys have saved themselves for marriage and a woman just happens to think that that's attractive and latches onto that. But honestly, throughout my entire career of all of this, the best boyfriend girlfriend situations, the best relationships start off in this exact way. And let me break down how it goes. So essentially, in the very beginning, there's two individuals that meet each other and they have, typically speaking, been, seeing other people and exclusively. And I'm not saying that they've been hooking up or necessarily being intimate, but they've been going on dates, they've been entertaining multiple options. And that's the truth on both sides for the most part. So I'm talking about on average. And they're both essentially, when they've met each other, kind of concealing their interest level, right? So this person doesn't want the other person to know how much they like them. They're, not really revealing their, goals and plans initially, which is actually, a great strategy. And really that's what you should do, right? Is you should kind of conceal your interest level, seems, appear skeptical, appear abundant, be patient, be non-needy, and really actually come from a place of like, hey, I'm single and I'm loving it, so for me to not to give that up and walk away from that would be a sacrifice. And so for the right person I'd do that. So anyways, there's two people come together, and here's how it goes. So what happens is that through the grapevine, the woman ends up finding out that the man is seeing, or in a lot of cases sleeping with other women. And this could be through the grapevine, right? This could be through friends of friends. This could be through the "are we dating the same guy," Facebook chat or whatever. What happens is these two people have been seeing each other, and then the woman fucking crashes out, right? Like, because she's pissed, she's upset. Her emotions are at a 10 out of 10. The emotional spike is at an all-time high, and she's in what we call emotional quicksand, right? She's facing emotional turmoil. And it's because she's been giving herself to this guy, and neither of them have really talked about what they are and what it's going to be. So this really fucking frustrates her, right? And what it does is it causes her to call him out. So she now has the leverage, and she has the ability to essentially confront the man and say, what the fuck is this? What am I hearing? And she has the leverage to basically back him into a corner. And really what it kind of does is it forces the decision upon the man, right? So now the man is kind of like, been found out. So now he needs to basically, in order to maintain that relationship, do one of two things. Cut her off and tell her that she's got to go and it ends right there. Or he has to essentially kind of make a decision for himself to, admit to his mistake or whatever, but then also, be forthcoming about, hey, I have been doing this, but what I'd love to do is get rid of that and, be together with you. So this is how it goes, right? And this is really like the best way that it should go. So I'm sorry to tell you guys, but you got to have the ability to do that. You got to build up your abundance so that you can get her to a point where eventually, like, she figures out that you have these other options and it causes her to crash out. And then it's that crash out that is kind of like the beginning of the relationship. Like, and as toxic as that might sound, like that's the way it's going to go. That's the way that it should really ultimately go, is, the woman has to basically force the man's hand into a relationship, right? So in order to do that, you've got to have a dating pipeline. In order to do that, you've got to be maximally attractive. And I'm not talking about just looks and money. I'm also not even talking about just game. Like, you need to be able to have a social circle, a social lifestyle. You need to host and attend parties and events. You need to be attractive in person. You need to be attractive on Instagram. You know, you need to have a social network that's valuable. And, you know, that's how you're going to attract the most high quality women. You got to have multiple ones of them going at a time, so that eventually when you meet the right woman, you can cause her to crash out over the fact that you have not been giving her exclusivity, which makes her want it. And then when she puts you in the corner and you decide to give it to her, she feels like she's earned it. I hope that's helpful for you guys. Hit me up for your dating advice. Hit me up for your social circle advice. And if you want me to build a social circle completely done for you from scratch, I will personally guarantee that I can build out all of the systems and all of the strategies and make that happen for you, completely done for you in 14 days. I use your Instagram profile. I use Instagram ads. I use group chats, and I use venues local to you to set up partnerships where you get free space to host exclusive parties and events, where I can get you a free photographer, I can get you a free DJ, and you can throw some of the best parties in your city, making you maximally attractive, zero guesswork, just the blueprint. If you guys are interested in something like that, click the link that's below this video, find me at New City Mastery, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.